If you come from the world of software engineering, you know the deal. You live and breathe Git. It is the absolute bedrock for everything you do. But what happens when you take that same trusted workflow and try to apply it to machine learning? Well, you find out pretty fast that the tools that served you so well, they start to break. Let's dig into exactly why that is. So, what's the deal here? Why does this incredible tool, the gold standard for developers everywhere, suddenly hit a wall when it comes to machine learning? That's the big question we're going to unpack today. And this right here, this slide gets to the absolute heart of the problem. With traditional software, you're mostly just versioning one thing, your code. But in machine learning, your final product is this combination of three deeply intertwined parts: the code that does the training, the actual data it was trained on, and of course, the model file that comes out at the end. You change any one of those, even slightly, and you've got a completely different result. And that really sets the stage for the unique challenge of machine learning. The complexity isn't just about fancy algorithms. It's about managing all these extra moving parts that go way, way beyond just the source code. I mean, just look at the scope of what you have to keep track of. It's not just the code anymore. We have to version the datasets themselves, the features we create from them, the models, all the hyperparameters we tweaked, and the performance metrics. If any single one of these things changes without you knowing it, your ability to reproduce a result just vanishes. It's a whole ecosystem you have to manage. All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of why Git on its own just can't handle all this. And this isn't just some minor inconvenience. It actually leads to what a lot of people in the field call a reproducibility crisis. Because if you can't reliably get the same result twice, you can't really trust your model in production, can you? And here is the absolute kicker. In machine learning, your data is your logic. It's part of the code in a way. A tiny, seemingly harmless change, maybe you clean up a few rows or add a fresh data source, that can cause a massive, totally unpredictable swing in your model's predictions. And if you weren't tracking that data change, you'll be left scratching your head wondering why everything suddenly went sideways. This table just lays it all out perfectly. First off, you've got large data sets. Git was designed to store the entire history of every file. That's great for code, but for a 5 GB dataset, it's a total disaster. Your git clone command would take ages, and the repository just becomes unusably bloated. Then you've got the model files themselves. They're usually big, opaque binary blobs. Git can't diff them, which means you can't see what actually changed from one version to the next. And finally, Git just has no concept of an experiment, no built-in way to link the code, data, parameters, and results all together. So, what's the solution? Well, you'll be happy to hear we don't throw Git away. Nope, we build on top of it. The modern MLOps approach is all about augmenting Git with specialized tools that are purpose-built for the unique challenges of machine learning. And here's what that modern toolkit looks like. We keep using Git for what it's absolutely brilliant at, versioning our code. But then, for our large datasets, we bring in a specialized tool like DVC, which stands for Data Version Control. And for tracking all of our experiments and managing our models, we use a platform like MLflow. This right here is the key principle for any modern MLOps workflow. You absolutely need Git as your foundation, but it's not the whole story. It is necessary, but it is not sufficient for doing professional, reproducible machine learning. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the what and the why. Now let's get our hands dirty and look at how these tools actually fit together in a real-world, practical workflow. So first up is DVC. The real genius of DVC is that it cleverly separates the metadata about your file from the actual heavy data itself. It creates these tiny little pointer files that you check into Git, and that little file just tells DVC where to find the real massive dataset, which is safely and efficiently stored somewhere else, like in the cloud on Amazon S3. This keeps your Git repository lean, mean, and super fast. And just look at how simple this is to use. You run DVC init one time. Then you use DVC add to tell it which data file to track. You commit the new little pointer file to Git with a normal Git commit, and then you run DVC push to upload the actual large data file to your cloud storage. It just seamlessly integrates with the Git commands you're already using every day. Okay, next up is MLflow. The best way to think about MLflow is like a digital lab notebook, a model library, and a deployment manager all rolled into one. It's this fantastic open source platform that helps you manage the entire ML lifecycle, from logging every experiment you run to packaging up your models for deployment.
And using it in your code is incredibly simple. You just wrap your training logic inside this with MLO.startRun block. Then inside it, you use simple commands. MLO.logParam saves a hyperparameter, like your number of estimators. MLO.logMetric records a result, like your accuracy score. And MLO.logModel saves the trained model object itself. With just these few lines of code, everything is automatically captured and organized for you. It's awesome.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, Git, DVC, and MLflow, what's the big prize you get at the end? You get full end-to-end reproducibility. This is what the professional workflow is all about. And this diagram shows that complete cycle beautifully. You train a new model, and the results get saved in your MLflow registry. The version of the data you used gets pushed and tracked by DVC. Then you create a Git tag to lock in the exact version of the code you used. From there, you can deploy your model, monitor how it's doing in the real world, and when its performance starts to dip, that can automatically trigger this whole retraining cycle to kick off all over again. And the result of all this? You get a fully traceable machine learning history. At any point down the line, you can definitively answer the most critical questions. Which exact code, on which exact data, with which exact parameters produced this specific model? That is the absolute gold standard of MLOps. You know, there's a quote I love that just nails this entire idea. It goes, "If you can't reproduce your model, you don't have a model. You have an accident." Without this kind of rigorous version control, that amazing result you got might have just been a lucky fluke, one that you can never recreate or reliably build on. And that really leaves us with one final important question for you and your own work. Take an honest look at your current ML project. Can you confidently trace its entire history and reproduce any result on demand? Is it a truly reliable engineered model, or is it maybe just a happy accident? The answer to that question really makes all the difference.